hello, I know this is supposed to be a horror vlog in which I rate horror from Kindle Unlimited, which, hell, that's what this is. I have started the first one. I'll talk about it in a second, but the real horror here is that right when I meant to start filming this, my skin condition from this summer came back, and, so yeah, that's a true horror. That's a true horror. If nothing else, this sweater will bring out the red in the rash. I find it funny. Anyways, it's healing. It's mostly healed. Enough where it's not noticeable, I don't think, especially at this far away. We should be fine. Just don't look at this eye that hard. Horror. I'm going to read 3 or 4. I'm going to try to see. I say that, but it's Tuesday. I don't want to go up this Saturday, and time is an issue. That being said, I have picked up the first book. I am enjoying it. But the third book will be, depends on time, and also if there will be a fourth. Because there's a third one that could switch out for another one, because I can have access to that audiobook, and then if I can do both, I will do both type thing. The first 2 I will be reading is thanks to Gab Smulders. I assume more commonly known as Jacksepticeye's girlfriend, but like I tend to watch her videos more. I knew for a while that she's been she reads a lot of horror, and then end of last year, beginning of this year, she did like a tier list of all the horror she read last year, which is why I started reading Darcy Coates. And then recently she started doing monthly wrap-ups of her reading. And the one that was 2 months ago, for 2 months ago, so that was the August one? That would have been August one, right? She brought up the first 2 books on this list. The second one we'll talk about when we get there, but like that one was literally just me scrolling on Kindle Unlimited and seeing that as under my recommended. I went, that's horror, so that would work for that vlog, and she liked it. Download. The first one, which is Come Home, Katie. I literally watched that video and her describing it to me as the medium, but like horror. And I went, give, and I went to try to find it in my library to learn I was on Kindle Unlimited, so I immediately downloaded it, and I haven't had time to read it. And so I purposely put it in this vlog, thinking that it wasn't going to be horror heavy, but it is labeled as horror first, mystery second, on Storygraph, so we're counting it. Come Home, Katie is about, Celeste. That sounds weird because I said Come Home, Katie. Celeste, is a pharmaceutical researcher, right, who, around the time of her wedding, she started a online blog where people could ask her questions anonymously, and she will answer them as much as she can. Because she tried to ask a question on the internet and nobody replied in like the 4 hours until her wedding, right? At like 2 a.m. And so she was like, maybe the one thing people need is just to be heard. So she starts the blog. And when this book starts, recently she was a victim of a hit and run. She was in a coma for 10 days. It is not confirmed whether or not she died. She views it as her dying, coming back to life. I don't think she actually died. She also, her best reason what could have happened is that this is always something people can do. There's just like a protective thing in your body that filters out your ability to see ghosts. She can see ghosts now because of this. Like how your body, like your liver filters toxins. That's what our brains do with ghosts. But because she had head trauma, whatever that part of her brain stopped working, and now she can see dead people. That's her best theory. And she is dealing with a chronic pain. It's like, I think it's her left leg. There's like this whole thing where it is either numb or extreme pain most of the time, and she has to use a cane a lot of the time and whatnot. So she's dealing with that. She's on sabbatical from work. She is changing so much because she went through a life and death experience. And so now her husband is just, you know, it does kind of remind me of the husband from The Medium. And my biggest complaint about The Medium is that husband. I will die on this hill. The day I learned that at some point in the show they do get divorced, I was very happy, and then I stopped watching the show. Because, God, I hate that man so much. I think it may be the person who grew up watching Ghost Whisperer in me. I didn't start watching The Medium until I was early 20s. Yeah. And I watched Ghost Whisperer growing up, and I would like everybody to know that Jim was always supportive. Anyways, that's not the point of this. Her husband is very similar. Very much like, oh, why can't you be the same as you were before? As like, she's dyeing her hair a fun color, and she got a tattoo. Maybe she just wants to have fun, okay? Anyways, so she randomly one day gets this message from Joanna on her blog about her missing younger sister, Katie, who went missing a year ago. And then later that night, Celeste does see Katie's ghost. And so now it's like 2 hours away. It's in Michigan. Funny thing is that the ghosty haunted book that I just finished right before this one also took place in Michigan. I don't know what that says. But it's like a town 2 hours away from her, so she goes there and she's starting the process of investigating what happened to Katie. She doesn't know if Katie's like actually dead, because she's like, maybe there's like different type of ghosts and she's just in a coma or in another plane or whatever. So she thinks maybe there's a chance that she's alive, but she's trying to, so it's like a small town mystery of what happened to this one teenage girl a year ago. With the understanding that she's probably dead, and she's definitely seeing her ghost. And there's other, like, in the apartment that they lived in, weird things are happening. The police, no investigation happening. They're like, oh, she just ran away because she's a 17-year-old girl. I'm sorry, what? And won't call back her sister when she tries to find anything out. And so she's starting the investigation, looking into things. One thing I do like is that she is, one, recording all her conversations with people about Katie. And part of that is that she, like, asks them permission before she starts recording. But she does it because, one, because of pain, her memory's not the same. Because of the pain, she also drinks more to help with the pain. And then takes pain meds. So that muddles her memory. So she is recording these things so that she will for sure remember everything properly and all this stuff and take notes later. I would be interested if that comes up later on, because there was another haunted house ghost book I read once. I think it was a Simone St. James, where that was the whole thing where she brought out a recorder to record their conversations, and then like a week later she goes to listen back and there's weird ghost conversations happening in the background. Anyways, I'm like nearly a third of the way through and I'm having a good time. And it's a fast read. So there's that. It's kind of exactly what I wanted actually right now in the middle of October. So let's go. I'm gonna go try to finish it. Honestly, today I kind of want to, so I can read the next book tomorrow. It's fine. We don't need to worry about it.
Oh, hi. I finished Come Home, Katie. I did just realize I should pull the next one on my Kindle. One, to tell you the name of it, because I don't know the name of it. Two, oh god, I meant to click it. It auto scrolled down so much and now it's opening up a different book. Stop it. Get some help. Anyways, I did open it yesterday, the second one yesterday, to see how long it is. So I know it's shorter. It's like 206 pages, which is a bad sign for me because I generally like longer horror. Speaking of longer horror, because I guess Come Home, Katie was 360 pages. I would label it mystery first, horror second. Like, it was a murder mystery. It just so happened that the private detective looking into it can see dead people, right? And because that weird spooky stuff is happening. That being said, I did like it. Fuck Jonathan. Fuck Jonathan, her husband. It just everything I brought up. Was that the day before yesterday about the medium and the husband and that? Yeah, the same. At least at the end of it, it seems to be like once your wife keeps on trying to tell you about all this weird shit she's experiencing after literally dying and coming back to life, because she did die. She did die on the operating table. After that happens and you just ignore her, it's all like, how could you? And you're so different now. Like, of course I'm different. I was literally hit in a ham run and died. I'm gonna be different. And you try to control me to make me the same person and all this stuff. And then, and you realize that I'm trying to solve other murder cases. And then I nearly die solving it, but also solve it. I actually solve it. I think at that point he has to realize I'm telling the truth. Like, I'm sorry. And he is trying to do like couples therapy, to help. But also I'd like to know, at one point in this book, it felt like the writer trying to get a reason to get Celeste out of the town. And And so she just had Jonathan go and pick her up and forced her back home for like 2 days, with no way to get back to the town, despite telling her that he would let her go back. And during that like 2 days that she was stuck back home, pressuring her into sex. I don't like him. I don't like him. That being said, the book itself 4 stars. I did guess. I don't know how far through I was when I guessed who it, like, for a good chunk of the book, I thought it was the boyfriend. But then I was like, well, there's no reason it would actually be the boyfriend, because in the books, generally what happens in mystery thriller books is that they go, it's probably the boyfriend or husband, because 50% of the time or X amount of the time, it's the partner of the person. You're right? Like, it literally said that in this book. And so whenever it is actually the husband or the boyfriend, it's just like, yeah, that's kind of very fucking obvious, because that is what happens in real life, right? So one, I assumed it wasn't him because of that, but two, there's a whole aspect of, he actually, like, seemed like he thought she had run off. And when you learn later on about the fight they had, like, right before she went missing, yeah, I could understand why he would think that she would just get up and leave and not tell him anything. And then I started trying to figure out who it was, and I did guess it. But I'm not knocking it for the book, because it was one of those books, it was one of those mysteries where it gives you a whole host of characters. So many characters. And there's all these characters, and you're trying to figure out, as you read the book, as the characters trying to figure out who the whodunit was, but you're also trying to figure out with all these characters, and there's so many of them. And so it's just a lucky guess. I literally was just like, I don't know, this random man. And I was right. The end. That being said, the thing about not in the writing style, but the small town vibes with a large cast of characters, and something's off about a lot of the characters. It's just like a little bit off about how some people act, and react to things and the things they do. Like the boyfriend, why was he ripping up all the missing posters and the visual posters? Like, that seems weird. Like, all that stuff was giving me a little bit Twin Peaks vibes. And that may just be this book in the series, just because it's a small town, in the middle of nowheres. There's a missing girl, but there's also, like, connected, there's a bunch of other cases, and one of them is a girl who went missing for like a month, and they found her body in a train car. And I was like, what in the Twin Peaks? It was giving me a little bit of the vibes, just a touch, just enough for me to go like, especially when like weird ghosty things would be happening, especially in her dreams, and I'd be like, so that's fun. And then I remembered to never finish Twin Peaks, because I got to the point, because it's like partially through season 2, like 4 episodes in season 2 when you figure out the whodunit. I don't remember why. I remember there was like an actual reason, because of the studio or something like that, why they did that. So once that was figured out, I stopped watching. I should finish that show, because it was really good. Anyways, 4 stars. It was well written. I am going to continue the series. I learned there are 5. Goodreads lies. It says it's 2 books in the series. I would like to thank Storygraph for saying 4, because the 5th one's not out yet. It doesn't come out until April of next year. So thank you for lying to me, Goodreads. It was good. 4 stars. Better than some, like, traditionally published mysteries I've read in the past few years. And this one's self-published. So, you know, there's that. The next one. We're gonna... First, before I talk about the second one, we're gonna talk about the third one, because I'm running out of time. It is Thursday afternoon. And the original plan was to do Slewfoot for the third one, but I don't have access to an audiobook for that one. And then I'm gonna try for that one. I'm gonna definitely read A Diary of Blood. That's gonna be the third one confirmed, because I have access to an audiobook and it's really short. So I'm gonna do that one confirmed. Maybe I'll start it later tonight. We'll see. But if I have time, I'm gonna at least start Slewfoot, because literally I was like, oh, I don't have time to read it. I guess I'll put it on the backside and I'll try to read it next week if I have time or something like that. And then I literally, right before pressing record, went on Discord to see one of the book clubs I co-run. somebody being like, read Sloofa, it's really good. So I'm taking it as a sign from the universe. And I'm gonna read it at some point. May start it in this vlog, I don't know. But we should talk about the second one that I'm gonna read in this, which is The Har. Spelled Haar. I really would have known nothing about this book if it wasn't for Gab Smolder, so yeah. It's only like 206 pages, so it's hella short. How many chapters are there? It's a little bit longer chapters than Come Home, Katie, but that's fine. Anyways, I wanted to tell you because I know nothing about this book. I know literally nothing. I remember Gab talking about it and saying that she liked it, and then reading another book recently by the same author and like saying that she liked it more. But I don't know what this one is about. But I did, like, when I opened it to see how many pages it is, the first sentence, I gotta just say it to you because my initial response was, I'm sorry, what? Is Muriel Margaret McCulley was 84 years old the first time she saw a man turned inside out by a sea monster. You know, I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna read it after I make some hummus, and we're gonna have a good time. I don't think I have access to audiobook. I should, like, double check that real quick. I'm gonna do that, like, right now. Oh, I definitely don't have access to audiobook. The audiobook for Libby's 378-day wait. No. That's pretty close to what the Slewfoot one is too. Okay, so I was like wondering what a har is. Right? Because I wonder if it was like an actual thing that I don't know. And apparently it is a cold, wet sea fog. Commonly called that, in Scotland, which makes sense because that's where the author lives. I don't know if that's where he's from, but that does make sense. You can apparently get like a smidgen of the audiobook from, apparently it's in Scotland too, on YouTube from Google Play Audiobooks, but I don't care enough to do that. I'll just speed read the whole thing today. Let's go. Oh my god, Lala, Books on Lala rated 5 stars. Oh, okay, this is gonna be interesting. I'm expecting to be grossed out.
You know, my hair doesn't look as bad as I expected for being after 11:56 p.m. Me having watched it and then going into bed. Anyways, yes, that late. Also, that means people are probably sleeping, so I'm gonna try to do this fast and quiet. The Har. What is it about? It is about a rich American guy trying to buy up all the property in a small Scottish town, coastal fishing village area, to build a golf course, and slowly, like, everybody has been selling out, and eventually there's very few people left, including the main character, Muriel, and they progressively do more and more things, more and more illegal to get them out of there, right? Including murder. And so one day, she is on the beach, and is attacked by the son of the guy doing this, right? And while on the beach, she finds a creature, like a blob from the ocean, and she hears it say, "Help me," so she takes it into her house and gives it her blood and water, and it comes alive and slowly starts killing people. Bad people. She's very adamant about that, to stay alive, but also keep her safe. The ending, wild, had a great time. Also, should state, yeah, it's a horror. Like, the things it does to people, it's what, like, it melts them into him, and then, but, like, there's, like, a thing, I say him, there's no gender, but majority of the time, there's only one other time he takes a humanoid form, and it is as a woman to manipulate people to kill them. Most of the time, he does specifically become one man, and that is Muriel's husband, who has been dead for over a decade. Because there's a bunch of other stuff, but basically, It is a love story between Muriel and uh Blob from the ocean who pretends to be her husband. Like, she knows this and she's okay with it. Because, like, the Blob has all her memories. So it's fine. Um and you know what? I really didn't know what I expected when I read the end synopsis that it was a love story, and I went, I'm sorry, what? And when Dark labeled it as humor, and I was like, I'm sorry, what? I laughed multiple times. It is a love story. The ending was so good. I had a great time. 4 stars. I was walking Bella like 3 hours ago. It just became 12, and I looked at that. Hello, welcome Friday. Anyways, like 3 hours ago, 3.5 hours ago, I walked Bella, and I was thinking, I think I was like just under 50% at that point, and I was like, what am I gonna rate it? Because, like, I think my favorite horror or Mexican Gothic and Dungeons Flesh, and those I think I both rated 4 stars. So I was like, is it like same level as that? Yes, yes. And so I was like, maybe 3.5. No, it was a great time through and through. 4 stars. The end. Now the other thing I'm going to talk about is I decided to watch Gab's video in which she talks about her reading of both Come On Kitty and the horror, and in it, she brings up another book that I went, hey, that sounds interesting. And then I saw it was on Kindle Unlimited, and so now there may be 5 books. Is tomorrow? It is today. The day before this goes up. Yes, am I gonna try to read 3 books in the next 24 hours and then edit this beast all Saturday? Yes, I am going to go. My Kindle is currently charging, but I'm gonna go open up the next one at least. She said that one was fast. So, I'm gonna go start Strange Pictures, I guess. Is that the name of it? I think so. It's giving, I want to say horticulture, but that's not right. Horror store. Was that a Grady Hendrix? I think so. I think it was like my first book by him that I've read. It's given a little bit that vibes. So I think that one will be fast. I want to at least open it on my Kindle and see if it's, because I know there's pictures in it, so I want to know if I can like actually actively read on my Kindle or if I should pull it up on my computer. And then tomorrow morning when I wake up, I'm gonna just immediately start on Diary of Blood. Especially since I have to like do actual important things like fix my nails and fold all my laundry, stuff like that. But also, there's a thing that I should bring up where I have adulting family things to do tomorrow. Which is why, yeah, I may be crazy for this. I may be crazy for this, but that being said, this is the most excited I've had reading books since last month. End of last month. In case you don't know, the last vlog of last month was, or I guess the first vlog of this month was me reading technically 31 books in 30 days. But that's the thing I did last month. And so I've been in a slum since then for obvious reasons. This is the first time reading these 2 books back to back is the first time I've actually been excited about reading. It hasn't felt like a short since then. So I'm just riding the wave, okay? And we're gonna follow Gad's recommendations because 2 4 stars in a row. Let's go. Especially with this reading month for me. Or if I'm gonna go start that book, and maybe I'll go to bed soon. I did set an alarm, so I will be waking up in the morning. I told Bella to wake me up if the alarm doesn't do it, so I don't think she'll do that, but we could dream. Hello, hi. My sister's downstairs in the kitchen. You may hear. Ignore it. 2. I'm starving. They're going downstairs. I'm starving. It's been just over 12 hours. Actually, it's been 12 hours since I put down my Kindle to go to sleep. It is 12:46 p.m. And I finished Strange Houses, not Strange Pictures. Me. I will talk about that one too. I am starving. I did wake up with a horrible migraine. I did immediately take my pain medication. We're all clapping. And doing what I can for it. But I was also like hella nauseous because of it. Like I couldn't drink my coffee. I almost was sick in my sister's bed cuddling the dog. And then I realized, oh, I haven't eaten and I'm supposed to eat with it. That's why. So I am very hungry, and it will help. So I'm gonna go eat pretzels and the hummus I made yesterday in a hot minute. But first I gotta talk about Strange Houses and Diary of Blood. I haven't read that one yet, but I want to say what it is about, or at least what I know of it, before I go into it. Strange Houses is a book that is, so there's a writer in the book, a writer, whose friend, is, his wife is like recently pregnant. They're looking into finally finding like a family home to move into. They find this nice house, but they notice in the floor plans there's this, like, in the kitchen there's like this tiny little room that is cornered off, and there's no doors to it or anything. And so they're like, that's suspicious, that's weird, can you look into it for me? To the writer. And I would like to know, I spent like 5 minutes staring at the layout of this house, which was easy to view on my Kindle, so in case you want to read this. I think this may be the second most popular, maybe third. I don't know how popular it is in the Japanese community, because this is originally Japanese. And then apparently, like, just a few months ago, it was translated into English, and traditionally published here, which is the first one that isn't self-published so far for this vlog. We love that for me. Anyways, so the writer, who is given no known pronouns, and then, which is fun because the author of the actual book, IRL, also no known pronouns, so that was fun. They contact a friend of theirs who is an architect of some kind, and is all like, hey, can you look into this for me? And the architect is like, yeah, that's a little weird, that's a little suspicious, but it could have been like a pantry or a closet, because it's between the kitchen and the living room. And they just ran out of money or whatever and didn't put it indoors. Like, it's fine, it's whatever. The real issue is the upstairs bedroom for the kids' room. To get to it, you have to go through this hallway, you could take a corner into another hallway that has a door, and then there's another door directly in the kids' room. And that's what I noticed first. And I went, that's fucking weird. And so they started coming up with a bunch of theories about what happened, right? Or what's up with this house. And so eventually the writer contacts the original friend. It's like, hey, don't buy the house, because this is giving weird vibes. Like, one of the theories they're thinking of is using kids to murder people. For murder for hire, I guess. I don't know. And so they contact the friend, and the friend's like, oh, don't worry, we decided not to do it because right nearby, there was a body found dismembered with a missing hand. Valid. And so, then, so the writer just, like, moves on with their life. A few months pass, but they can't get the story of this house and its layouts out of its head. So they, publisher or agent or whatever is like, hey, write an article about it. So they do, and it gets some eyes. And randomly, a lady messages the writer. It's all like, hey, I have information, let's meet up. And she has insider information, has another house plan for another house that is also suspicious and weird, and connected. And through her, we find out all this information. And the whole thing is very interesting. The way it's written, it's, for the most part, it's either pictures of the layouts, and each time they, like, bring up something, it does zoom in with, like, the area outlined or circled or something like that. So that's interesting. That's cool. We love that. But also, most of it is written like it's transcripts of a audio recording or something, where it's just like, author, blah, 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 blah. Architect, blah, blah, blah. Lady, blah, blah, blah. They actually have names. Well, the author doesn't, but the other characters have names. I'm not going to be able to pronounce them, so I'm not going to try. And so it was very much like that. So I think that's why it's so fast to read, because most of it is just blocks of dialogue, on, like, one page for, like, 3 lines of dialogue, and then a picture. So there's that. Anyways, here's why I'm giving it a 3.5, which is the last chapter is split into 4 chapters, but there's, like, parts in the chapters. The last chapter is essentially, just exposition dump of what everything is. So, I was gonna think it's right on there. Though it was like, I guess what was happening was wrong, because I went into the content warnings as I normally do, and I saw incest, and then I saw that layout plan, and I went the worst place possible. That's not what it is. That's not what it is. So, good, I guess. I love that for my brain. In case you're wondering how fast it is to read, I lay down in bed after updating you at like 12:05 in the morning, and then at 12:38, 12:40, I forced myself to put my Kindle down, and thankfully the reason that I finally did is because I finished chapter 1, I reached chapter 2. So I was like, okay, let me put my Kindle down, and in that time, I read 48 pages, and that was like a good few minutes just staring at the layout of the house in the very beginning. 48 pages, nearly a quarter of this book, I read in like half an hour. I would have finished it much earlier if it wasn't for the migraine this morning. Now, Hidden Pictures, the first book by the author, of a similar vein. I remember vividly. So in rewatching the video for Gab's wrap-ups for, that would have been August, she said Hidden Houses was her favorite of the month, which is the whole reason why I decided to pick it up for this. Which I did like it. 3.5 stars. I think this proves that I should take Gab's recommendations, and now I really want to read her favorite Dark State Coats. If only there wasn't a multiple month waitlist on my library. Because apparently it's a popular one. But, I remember for the September wrap-up, she read Hidden Pictures. Because, like, why not? I already like the first, or this other book by this author, why not pick up this other one of a similar vein? And really disliked it. And so now I really want to read it. And it's like one of those things where, like, it's so short. Well, it's like the same length. It's 200 pages. But it's so fast to read. It takes, like, no time that I may just read it. Not for this. Not for this. I have, after finishing this video, I also have, like, a chunky book that I need to read by end of Monday. Right? And then, after that, I think Hidden Pictures will be, like, my palette cleanser, essentially. So that's the plan for that. So I guess check out my monthly wrap-up for thoughts on that, I guess. Next up, a Diary of Blood. I still have not done my nails. I need to fold my laundry. I'm gonna take like a 30-minute break of reading to eat, and then I will pick that up. My Kindle is currently charging right now. That's another thing. My phone also should be charging, but that's fine. It is a Bride of Bride of Dracula, which I have read Dracula, retelling, and horror. I say horror. Storygraph has it labeled as fantasy, then queer, then historical, then romance, or was it fantasy, historical, queer, romance? I think that's the order that's labeled in. But on Goodreads, it goes horror, then fantasy. So I'm just gonna go off that. I think so far, the horror is actually the only one that's like straight horror. I hope, is it Sleepfoot is also straight horror. I think that one is too. So we can hope. Because so far it's been mystery thrillers. Like, I didn't even know what to label Strange Houses on my tracker, because it's kind of a mystery, I guess, but it's not a thriller. I did label as horror because I guess it's a horror, but like it's more of a mystery with little horror elements thrown in, like Come Home, Katie. I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna go read A Diary of Blood in a minute. The audiobook is exactly 5 hours, so it should not take me long. Like, I plan to finish it around 3-ish, by 3-ish. And then I have like multiple hours to read the last one before family obligations, and then after that's done, I'm gonna read for the rest of the night and hope I finish it tonight. And then tomorrow morning I'm gonna get up and immediately review. Why do I do this to myself? I say this, but I'm having a good time reading. So we're just following the vibes right now. We're following the vibes. And this is what's happening. It's almost 9 p.m. It's almost 9 p.m. Everyone starts Slewfoot. Am I recording this? A little bit. I do want to at least end this off at least halfway through, because I had to do that. Was that last February? I did Kindle Unlimited horror. I don't think it was Kindle Unlimited, but horror vlog where I softied up one of the books. I was like, if I finish it,
I'll put a review in the comments, and I did do that. So that may have to happen with Slewfoot. I'm not 100% sure. But I did finish Devouring Blood, and I gave it 4 stars. We're on a roll. Really on a, this may be my best vlog ever ratings wise. I am putting it on level with Tenders of Flesh because, like, it's not the same level as like horror or gore or any of that stuff, but it's using a fantasy historical horror setting with vampires, right, to show an abusive, manipulative, grooming relationship, right, and overpowering that, and also throuple, and also everyone's just so bisexual in this. I love it. Essentially, is it, I want to say Contesta? That may be wrong, though. Essentially, in the very beginning, like, you learn from the very, very, very beginning that she kills her husband, right, and is like, you took my name away, so I'm not gonna give you yours. That's, like, the one part I knew about this. Like, that, I've heard that line so much, because he found her on kind of a battlefield, dying, like, on the brink of death, and recognized her as a fighter, so, the way, you know the whole book that she's gonna murder him, and the way she's like the first of their trio that he collects, right? And the way he recognizes her and wants her because he recognizes her as a fighter and then acts surprised when she inevitably fights back at the end. Men, the audacity. Anyways, he knows that, he offers to save her life. She accepts, right? And then he gives her revenge, and then she's his bride. And they're like that for a while until he finds another woman, and it's like this thing that he does where he finds other people and it seduces them into his menagerie or whatever, and then she has to just accept it. Though he has noticed that she has a liking towards other women prior, so he finds a beautiful woman who he knows also likes women, so that he can get this other woman to seduce his wife, so he can have 2 wives. And then there's a third one that eventually, later on, essentially he's not physically abusive, as far as I can tell, until near the end, but he's definitely highly manipulative. There's like stuff with him also, forced confinement and stuff like that, and it's just very much a 100% emotional abusive relationship, until the end, when she comes to realization where they're not safe and she has to do it for all of them, especially the youngest of them, and so but bing, she kills him. It's a sign, like, the first, like, page that she's gonna kill him. But the whole, I was talking about the name thing, that's how all this started, where when he brings her back to life, essentially turns her into a vampire, he gives her a new name and just starts calling her that, and it's like the erasure of her old name and all this stuff. Really makes you think if the other two have their original names or not. So this whole book, he's just him or you. Like, she's writing it like letters to him after everything, right? And just says you about him. And doesn't name him because he took away her name. So after killing him, he did a baptism in dark baptism by blood. I think that's like actually wording she does near the end. Cause she's also very religious. And so he did that to bring her back to life, in the beginning, and at the end, she kills him and takes away his name. Iconic. We love that. We love that. So yeah, that was good. I don't know what else to say. Like, obviously it's good. Maybe this will finally talk me into reading An Education in Malice. Because I did reread a few months ago Carmilla. Just read that one, which is similar vein, but Carmilla retelling, which is the other classic vampire book. But that one is already sapphic. So if you're gonna turn vampires into queer allegories and whatnot, it just make them so gay. Why not do the one that's already so gay? I'm just saying. Very obvious. I think it's Dark Academia as well. I keep on borrowing from the library. I just renewed my loan for it, hilariously, and then returning it. So maybe this will finally talk me into reading it. But yeah, I get why people like it. It's good. I had a good time. I think Slewfoot will match the vibes of Tendrils Flesh and Diary of Blood not in the like actual horror gore or whatever, but in the whole thing is something else, a message, an important thing wrapped up in a horror book. Like it's a whole, you know what I'm trying to say. I don't blame the migraine. Anyways, because Son of the Flesh, if you know, that one is that one, and then this one is about abusive, manipulative relationships, and all that, and the end. I don't know what the Slewfoot one is. I did see briefly that it's puritanical, New England, which, in case you don't know, I do live in New England, so that's gonna be a vibe, at least for me. And I think it's witches. I don't think I've read a witch horror, so we'll see how that turns out. That's that. Also, I was like, dude, what's this series? Because it was like Diary of Blood 1. Technically there's Diary of Blood series, but there's also like some people consider it a duology with an educational malice. I didn't put it on my series list because on Storycraft it's considered a series with the added epilogue. There's a bonus epilogue that was published later. It wasn't in my copy of the audiobook from Libby, but it was in the ebook, which makes sense. So I already read it. So I'm not putting it on my series list, and I'll just label them both as standalones. Thank you very much. That's that. It was sweet. Kind of like the horror was like kind of romantic despite all this horror happening and all this dark stuff happening. The end, 4 stars. This one was indie published. I thought this one would be, if you were to point out the 4 I've read so far for this video and tell me to point out which one's traditionally published, I would think Diary of Blood. Just automatically because of how hyped up it was. So that's interesting because it's indie, and then the other 2 are self, and then it's Strange Houses. I was like Special Houses? Strange Houses. Though I guess that would be my second guess because it is translated. That would be my second guess for traditional, but still. I don't know if Slewfoot is traditional. It is, right? I remember I saw that it was Tor. It was a imprint of Tor. So Slewfoot's gonna be. Anyways, I'm gonna go start that one. I'm thinking take it back, and I'll start it. I don't know how far I'll get. This is also gonna be the second longest out of all of them, and the longest, Katie Come Home, took me like 3-4 days. Part of that I was reading other books, but still, so I don't know. Anyways, the end. This one's labeled as fantasy, then historical, then horror on Storycraft. That's also labeled horror first on Goodreads, like Diary of Blood was, which makes sense for me. I labeled it as horror on mine because the horror is the relationship. It's not the vampires. The vampires are like not really like, yeah, okay, they're killing people and drinking blood a lot, but like the horror is the relationship with this controlling man. That's the horror, and that makes sense. And because Goodreads is based off of what people put them in, like the readers put them in, that makes more sense for that one to be labeled in horror there. Because I'm assuming after like the first type of it, general audience for it is 20 to 30-year-old women who have bad experiences with men in relationships. Like I'm guessing, who also are a little the end. I'm gonna go. Maybe I'll read a book. I'm so tired And I still have to edit all this. Somebody come pick me up from school. Who did this? Who let me do this?
I don't know, hide. It's me the next day. I already filmed this. I'm almost done. This is the last clip. And I'm almost done with editing. But then, for some reason, the audio was so muffled. There's no way I could use that for the last clip. So now here I am, re-recording it the day after. Because I did get to 7%, 22 pages into Slewfoot last night in the bath. And then I remembered a very important thing. I didn't remember it. We're gonna blame the migraine for me not clocking this. Puritanical New England equals witch trial times. And I don't like books during that time period. For similar reasons why I don't like books during World War II. Mostly the infantilization, almost it feels like, of a time period, a specific time period where like we have evidence of people burning women alive for existing. They're just existing. Talking sometimes. Like I don't like that for obvious fucking reasons. And I don't and yeah. And it takes place in Connecticut. So you know, and the main character so far, the amount I got into the book, she was already like on the brink. The only person who's stopping it from happening is her husband, of having to be punished for her her wrongdoings of trying to protect her husband from people manipulating him and speaking her mind, which would include whipping and putting in the stocking. I don't want to read that. I don't want to do it. So here's what's gonna happen. I softy and effed it. And I put the audiobook on hold. It's gonna take several months. It didn't go in a specific number. That's how you know it's gonna take fucking forever. So not until next year, at least. And then I'll try again with the audiobook. I'll like re-download the book on Kindle Unlimited because I know there's pictures in it. But until then, no. Did I say anything what this is about? It's about, there's apparently a shadow demon creature, that, comes out, and the village is split between, half being all like, oh my god, it's religious, but also half being like, oh my god, it's the devil, right? And then, for some reason, she gets help from the creature, and the end, I don't know, witchy stuff? I don't know. I think there was, in the synopsis, I swear there was a mention about ghosts, and so maybe I will like it if there's ghosts. I don't know. If you are like, which are you ever actually gonna try again? I've done this twice before with horror. Specifically, I already mentioned the Good House, purpose. I didn't say what book it was, but in which, for another horror vlog, I started it, I softy and effed it, and then multiple months later I picked it up and I read it and I really enjoyed it. Lakewood, forget the name of it, is one that I started last year and I got like halfway through, but I wasn't really feeling it, so I was like, maybe if I do the audiobook instead. And I just borrowed the audiobook from Libby yesterday for that one, so that's gonna be read soon. So yes, I do actually pick them a backup. That's that. The end. I don't think we have anything else to talk about. I will give it a try. I will give it a try full force when I have the audiobook. Because, and like, hear me out, it could be the outlier, and I recognize this because Book Thief was the outlier for books that take place during World War II. And so there's a chance, especially with how high priced it is. So I will give it a chance when I can get my hands on the audiobook. The end. That's it. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to be doing emoji things. I remember there were like 3 minutes where I was trying to think of a horror emoji for this. If you've gone this far, there's the blood drop emoji. Do that. The end. Because there's vampires and also there's so much blood in horror. There was more blood in the horror than there was in the vampire book. I love that for me personally. Anyways, the end. Wednesdays here, gaming videos. But they're from streams on Twitch. I stream on Twitch almost daily. I'm gonna stream games later tonight that this is going up, actually. Also, so like, if you want to watch me play Phasmophobia with friends, that's gonna be tonight. That's just a thing. And then Saturdays is like this booktube videos. Next Saturdays is going to be, I already mentioned it when I was talking about strange pictures, technically, is going to be a monthly wrap up. I'm bringing those back, but in a new way where it's only books that I didn't read in vlogs or write reviews for like arcs and whatnot. So it's not gonna be like 50 minutes long. It's gonna be like 20 minutes long, and like 5 books. Okay, it's not gonna be some great adventure. The end. Goodbye. Hopefully the audio works this time. If not, I'm gonna scream.